Hello everyone, Jason from Misprints@mtg.com, and today I've got an interesting video for you guys. I recently wrote an article about the pros and cons of getting your misprints graded, and in that article I highly question CGC's ability to accurately authenticate misprints. So I wanted to do a little bit of investigative journalism, and I wanted to send them a stack of cards to grade. So you can see here I have my CGC order with the list of cards that I plan on sending them. It basically ended up running me around $30 a card. $25 is the base grading fee plus $5 per card. So yeah, a little bit of a hefty price for this experiment, but this pile of cards is going to be an interesting test because it is mostly fake misprints. So we're gonna see what CGC does with some misprints that I would even have some trouble authenticating, or would miss if I wasn't being super diligent. So we'll see what level of expertise they could bring. So I'm going to go over these cards, tell you what I would look for or if it would fool me, and then through the magic of video editing, we'll open up the package that CGC sends and we'll see how well they do. So this first card here is a Protean Thaumaturge. It is missing the date stamp, or the hollow stamp. And this one would probably fool me if I didn't know it was a fake. This was a normal Protean Thaumaturge that had the hollow stamp removed. So we're going to see if CGC can be better than a misprint collector in identifying if this is a legitimate or fake card. This card is a real tricky one. So you can see it very clearly has a square corner, but this top left corner, this was actually square at 1.2. I just clipped the corner using the same tool that NFC choppers use to clip corners. So this is a really devious test to see how well they are at identifying clipped corners. So it was a legitimate misprint. It still is a legitimate misprint with that one square corner. We're just going to see if they call out these corners as suspicious in any way, shape, or form. This card here is just a legitimate misprint. It's just faded black on the black borders on the back of the card. It's a revised Phantasmal Terrain. This is in here as kind of a baseline stabilizer, to say that, hey, look, this is a pile of authentic misprints. So this one should come back graded no problem. If it doesn't, then there's a huge problem. We have another missing date or holostamp card. This one has the indentation, but it is also a fake. This used to be a normal Magic the Gathering Crypt Breaker, until the holostamp was removed in the research, for research purposes, to see what that process would be like. The really interesting thing about this one, and I'm kind of curious to see what CGC does, my camera went out of focus, there we go, is the back on this one is super glossy. That's because it used to say fake on the back in Sharpie, but that was cleaned off, and as a result we kind of have this little bit of a glossy back. So I'm really curious to see what CGC does with this one. Next we have this Crimped Forest. This is a fake crimp. It's a pretty convincing one too. There are some things about it that would trigger some red flags, but it's really very clean. I'm not going to go into the details of what those red flags are because I don't want to give people who make fake crimps any more information on making nice, authentic looking ones. Here we have another fake crimp made using a different method. This is a scary one. If I saw this in the wild, there is a strong chance that I might not even catch it. The back's a little beat up, so it looks old. But we'll see what CGC does with this second method of making fake crimps. Next, we got this really cool Doom Blade. It might be a little difficult to see, but you can see right around here, if you look halfway across the card, there's a color error that affects the bottom half of the card. You can actually see on the Doom Blade itself where the magenta and yellow stop. This is a legitimate misprint that mimics sun bleaching. So I'm really curious to see what CGC does with this one. It should get slabbed, but if they choose not to slab it, that'll be really interesting because we know it's actually legitimate. Here is yet another fake crimp made using a third method of making fake crimps. It'll be interesting to see what they do about this. This is probably the most suspect of the 3 crimps that I'm sending them, but I have a feeling that they're going to go ahead and probably slab this one too. We'll see if I'm eating my own words or not. And last but not least, we have this miscut. Oh wait, it's not a normal miscut, it's an NFC. So we're going to see if they catch this. It's an older card, it's non-foil, it's a normal miscut. The biggest giveaway on this one are the corners. Also, the card has a very, very, very slight bend to it because the sheet used to be rolled, but it's pretty indistinguishable unless you know exactly what to look for. So we're going to see if they slab this card. So that's everything that I'm sending them. Now, it's probably going to be about a month or two before they end up sending these cards back. But through the magic of video editing, let's go ahead and see the box and crack it right now. And here we are. Here's the box. Just got it back from CGC. Let's go ahead and open it. Have not looked at any of these. Have no idea what they did with these cards. I'm excited. I'm nervous. Just via the weight of it, you could tell that there's definitely a bunch of slabs in here. So we're going to see what they caught and what they didn't catch. If I could figure out how to get into this thing. I'll speed this up. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 slabs, and I sent them 9 cards. We have this Protean Thaumaturge. It was missing the hollow foil stamp, and it says as much on the back, missing foil. So here is first failure, CGC. This is not an authentic misprint, and they have graded it as such. Here's the swamp with the clipped corner, and the one legitimate square corner down here, labeled as one square corner. So they did not catch the fact that the second corner was clipped. The Phantasmal Terrain, we know this is a legitimate misprint. Insufficient ink, labeled on the back. They caught this one and they labeled it appropriately. Here's our Crypt Breaker. It is also missing the foil stamp, but it has been authenticated. It was graded as a 6, which is really interesting because other than that glossiness on the back, there's really nothing wrong with the card. So it looks like that's what they did with the glossiness. Here's that Crimp Forest made using the first crimping method. So this is a fake crimp that has been authenticated as a crimp. Here's our revised mountain with its crimp, partial crimp, authenticated. Here's our Doom Blade that mimics a sun bleach, and they went ahead and slabbed it. They said insufficient ink, so they got this one correct. Here's our forest made using the third method of fake crimping. Also not caught. It is labeled as a partial crimp. And here's the real interesting one. Oh, yeah, well, here's a very obvious non-factory cut card that is labeled as a miscut. A little dirty. Be nice if they clean things off. So, I think that is a pretty good indicator of CGC's ability to accurately authenticate misprints. A lot of these were not the fairest of things to send because some of them would have tricked me too. But if you're charging $30 a card to authenticate misprints, you should be an expert at it. That's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Really curious to hear your thoughts on grading, and if there was anything that I should have done differently or cards that I should have sent and didn't. Really kind of curious to hear your opinions of it. Check out the blog post that this video is associated with. And thank you, as always, for checking out my content. Feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and all the YouTubey stuff. I will see you guys next time.